So last month at our Wisconsin Ham Radio Campout, you may have seen me walking around with this, or you may have seen me wearing it in our Ham Radio Campout video. What this is the SenseCap T1000 card tracker. It's a Meshtastic device, and Meshtastic is something new that I'm kind of dabbling in. It's something that's kind of really caught my interest, and a couple of individuals at our campout, Mike KB9ODF and Shane KB9NJJ, have also been playing around with Meshtastic, and I asked them to give a presentation at the campout. I wanted to learn more about how this works. So what you're going to see is sort of a roundtable discussion on Meshtastic, not really a hands-on tutorial on how it gets started, but more on the lines of the different devices that are available and how they work and function within the sort of that Meshtastic ecosphere, and how Meshtastic fits into ham radio. So hope you enjoy it. This is a roundtable discussion on Meshtastic.
The other devices I have, I've got a LilyGo T-Echo, and this is a really good device. This one does it has the GPS module in it, but it does not have the environmental module. Because if you have that, it'll tell you the temperature, barometric pressure, all that stuff.
Yeah, and that environmental chip is an option for the T-Echoes. You can get them with or without it. So.
Yeah. I voted just to get the GPS only. This one costs around $74 in shipping. This one I got, there's a company, these are made in China, but there's a company down in Florida that sells them there, so you can go on AliExpress or Amazon and get them, but they'll be coming from China, where these guys, they've tested it out, and down in Florida they've tested it out, and you got somebody to really complain to if it doesn't work when you get it. Okay. The other two devices I have are MusiWorks devices. This one holds, the LilyGo holds, what's the chip in the LilyGo T-Echo? It's a Wise, or is it a?
I can't remember, I'm blanking now.
Okay, but it's a low power device. This should last almost 4 days on one battery charge, and it's only got, I believe it's an 850 milliamp battery, which is really good.
Is that the NRF?
Could be, yeah.
Is it Bluetooth only?
Yes. This one doesn't have the Wi-Fi. Okay. These two devices, these are MusiWorks. I bought the case and the innards and the guts from MusiWorks for this one. This one has a Heltec T114 board in it. That's it's basically a low power device also, so this will last 3 to 4 days, just like the LilyGo. But from my distance testing, I got 9.5 miles out of this, and I only got around 7 miles out of this with this from the same height back to my, because I put the one up on the pole on my back porch, and I drove 9 miles slightly uphill. Okay. And this I was able to get home with. This one I wasn't until I got a little closer. But this has the Heltec T114. But I downloaded this case off of PrintMe and printed out. It holds a bigger battery. This holds a 22 milliamp hour battery, where the case you get from MusiWorks holds a 2000 milliamp battery. They'll both last a long time. They both have the GPS chip in them. This antenna I got off of Amazon, and this one is the MusiWorks antenna. And I put them on my Nano VNA, and they both are right around 1.2 to 1.3 at 915 megahertz. So they're both good antennas. This is actually, when the LilyGo had this antenna on it, was when I had the 9.5 miles with it. Okay. Both of these I built myself. I bought the components and put it. When you say build, it's, you really don't build it. You just buy the parts and put it together. Okay. But this one I did print the case. You could tell by I didn't have my printer settings right. You can see how smooth the printing is here and how it's a bit jagged. Because you're laying it down like that and you're printing it with supports, okay? And I haven't got my profile yet set up for it. But they both work, you know, they both work pretty well. With this one today, when we went into town for breakfast, I got, where you go down here and you turn again and start to come back up. I messaged Mike and I was able to get an acknowledgement from Mike there, but that's actually maybe half mile.
Yeah.
But when I went down to the park entrance, you know, I just stuck it out the window and sent the message, and it hit another. What it says, it'll say waiting for acknowledgement, and it said acknowledged by another node, and then Mike's device acknowledged the message. So I'm assuming that it hit that node up here and then retransmitted that node.
Is that your one node up there?
That's my node.
Does it end with a 1 or a 5?
That's the 3.
A 3?
That's the KB9VBR 3.
Oh, yeah. OBF 1 and a 5.
This is the 1.
Okay.
No, this is the 5. I'm
That's
sorry.
the 5.
This is the 1. They both have been on this weekend.
And
The other
3's up
two,
there,
huh?
and the 3's on the pole.
The 3's on the pole. Unless the battery.
There it
dies.
is. Nope.
Okay.
Yeah. I see it.
So I assume these charge a USB-C?
Yes. The only thing about these is you don't want to do the high power charge. You want to use the USB to hook into your battery, and because you only want to put 1.5
Most
amps.
of the ones I've gotten are kits.
Come with the battery?
Yep. And I go through the same place he did that place in Florida, Rockland Wireless.
Yeah, any charge cable that has USB-C that plugs into the battery or whatever you're using, and then the USB-C.
A to C.
Yeah, A to C.
And so can you charge them while they're operating?
Yes. In fact, once you plug them in, they turn on. These do. I think even the LilyGo and the old Heltec V3s. Now, the V3 is pretty much a low tech or old tech device. They're slowly being replaced by these low power devices. It lasts a lot longer and it works better. Like this LilyGo has got an 850 milliamp battery in it, and it'll last you 3 days or more. Where'd the orange one go? Can I see that for just a second? This one has a 3,000 milliamp battery, and it'll last maybe a day and a half. That's the power consumption on the Heltec V3. But it's a good, it's a starter device. You can, especially if you don't have to buy a case. If you take one of them, you can get it up for around $30. But I do recommend the antenna that comes with it. It has right around a 5.0 SWR, and it's just a little stubby thing. So you probably want to upgrade an antenna. You can get these on Amazon for around 2 for $12. Okay, and they work pretty well. You can go to Mhz Works and get this antenna for it's around $11 plus shipping. And then there's another company that sells the LilyGo down in Florida. They have an antenna that's similar to this one that works pretty well, from what I've heard. I haven't tested it. I've only tested these.
Have you done remote antennas and coax or not?
Well, they recommend that you put the device as close to the antenna as possible because you get a loss. Like you have RG3. When I went to Isle Royale, I took the radio and I tried to get everything as small as I could because I was backpacking 60 or 40 miles, and I did a dB test on 10 foot of RG316, and it was about 80% efficient, okay, on that. So 80% of a couple milliwatts is Not very good. So they recommend that you put, if you're like, you put it close as possible.
It's 915 megahertz, so you're going to get a lot of loss.
Yeah, I have a remote solar repeater set up with a larger antenna. It's like a 11 dB gain that's this big, so it wouldn't be supported on the enclosure itself. So I have that mounted, and I have about a foot of coax. That's about all the more I'd use. So
What coax do you have?
whatever it was that Rockland recommended.
What would you say its size off the top of your head? Like a RG8X?
No, it'd be more like a 400.
Oh, an LMR 400?
Yep.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
there you go.
Pretty thick piece.
I guess that, like the same as UHF, VHF, you know, the bigger the coax, the better your
Yeah. And it's, you know, like what we just said, when you're talking milliwatts and at 900 megahertz, it adds up really quick. It's it's not as forgiving as HF or even VHF.
Right. Hey, any questions? More?
Are they limited to so much power?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if you hook your, these are unlicensed devices, you don't need a license to operate them, but you can, during the setup, you can hook up your call sign to it, but then you can't use any encryption, and you can increase the power, but you're able to increase the power, and you're able to go down into the UHF frequencies with it, but on this device, you can't increase the power, even though you have your.
That's what I found too. Where unlicensed, I think it's a watt or less, and with a amateur radio license, you can go up to, I believe, 10 watts. But I've yet to seen anywhere where it shows me how I can increase the power. I haven't seen a modular you can add. If you're smart, you can probably figure it out yourself, but I'm an appliance operator. I just want to buy something and plug it into the board.
Yep. You want to?
Sure, I can show some stuff.
Okay. Where you want to stand here? And...
I can just, if everyone's got chairs, I can just talk loudly by that tote. All right, my name's Shane, KB9VBR, and
Call you back.
I kind of got asked to help Mike out. So my backstory with Meshtastic, which I think a lot of you is, it just seemed kind of cool and wanted to play with because we're hams and we're nerdy like that. But I liked it too because I live in a remote area. Cell coverage isn't always that great. And a lot of my family and friends are always looking for an alternative to cell phones, and I tell them, get your ham license, and they say, we'll do that someday, and they never do. But I found the Meshtastic, and I got people in my area using it a little bit because there's no license, there's no test. You download an app, and you get a little device in your text messaging. So that's what I like about it. It is a kind of a gateway into the hobby because now people are starting to experiment with antennas and stuff like that. I have several different nodes because these things are kind of like HTs. You can't have just one, and the new one comes out and has another feature, so you get it. This is probably my favorite one. I use quite a bit. It's by Rack Wireless, ARK. It's called the Mesh Pocket. And it has a built-in battery. The 3D printing's pretty nice on it. It's got a nice on and off switch, easy to use. Antenna comes off. It comes with a much smaller antenna, so right away you can upgrade antennas, and that's kind of the hook for getting my non-ham family into ham when I explain to them, yeah, you can upgrade the antenna, and then I can show them other stuff. Anyways, this is a really good device. There's 3 main manufacturers for Meshtastic chips. It's Rack, the RAK, LilyGo, and then the Heltec. They all have their pros and cons if you dig into them a little bit. I'm kind of a fan of the Rack. Their main board is very easy to work with. If you want to add features like my discussed before, like a GPS, or like this one here has a GPS in it. I've added a temperature and pressure and humidity chips and a buzzer that vibrates when I get a message. And they're set up really simple. There's no soldering involved. They're just push the pins into the receptacles, so someone like me can handle it.
You indicated it has a battery.
Yes. Yep. The battery's built into it.
Replaceable.
Yep.
So that you can take multiple ones and just swap them.
You can, yeah, you can get creative with these. Here, I can show it to you, and you can pass it around if you want. It's just a 3D printed case. The main board that's in there is a bare board that you can buy as a kit, and you can see it's bolted together. You can take it apart, you can add modules to it, and if you have 3D printing skills, you can make a bigger back case to put a larger battery in if you want, or if you have a 3D printer, there's a bunch of files out there for stuff like that, or other people like Mike will make them. Where'd you go? There you are. Everybody's got a green shirt. So there's options like that. So that's a fun one. One that I really like, and it's for convenience, is this is my wallet. And this is my everyday carry one. This is by Seed Studios, called the Sense Cap. I think Michael has one too. And this one's size of a credit card, about 1/4 inch thick, so it can fit in your wallet, it can fit in your pocket. It's IP66, I believe, or 67, so it's pretty much waterproof. It has a magnetic charger on the outside. So with the pros of it being rugged and dust-proof and waterproof, it has the cons that you can't really do much with it. As far as like adding modules or adding antennas. And in fact, the antenna is right here. I can pass it around, you can see it's right here. So that's the downside of that one, is your range is pretty limited because you got an internal antenna. But in relatively flat terrain similar to this with trees and stuff, in fact, there's a Governor State Forest just by Grantsburg, I was able to get close to a mile range with that. And then of course in the more open area you can get more range, and as the mesh works, if there's somebody close enough to you, you get out to anybody else. So that's a pretty cool one.
Are you limited to hops? How many hops they do?
Yeah, it's kind of like how APRS works, where you have hops. I think the max you can do is 7. But that you should, just like it with APRS, if you have a lot of APRS in the area, you don't want to be clogging up the system with redundant messages going around that, repeats that don't need to repeat. So they recommend that you put it down to like 2 or 3 hops, but if there's nobody around, and it doesn't really matter. If you establish a network in the area, you just adjust it to what works. And then here's one of those solar remote nodes. I have 2 of these. This is also by Rack Wireless. IP66, I believe. Enclosure's got a gasket that goes around. As you can see, the front panel's all solar panel, and it has ports on the bottom that I taped over, and on top for antennas. Screws together. I should, now thinking about it, I should have took this off so you can see the insides. If Mike has a screwdriver handy, I can do that afterwards if anybody wants to see the inside. But with this, I have the board. I have a temperature and humidity sensor in it, and then also I have 2 18650 or 18650 cell batteries in here that the board itself will put the extra energy into, so if I have not a sunny day, this thing will keep going. I've had one of these on the roof of my house since last winter, and I haven't touched it. I checked it yesterday, and I had 87% charge on it, and it obviously it varies. So it's just sitting on an old dish TV mount on the roof of my garage, aimed south, and it kind of covers my area. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, Mike mentioned the company out of Florida that he works with. That's Rockland.
Yeah.
Yep. ROK Land. They carry stuff from Wizblock, Iraq, Lily Go, all the major stuff. And like he's saying, it's stuff that's already brought into the U.S. If you have any problems, you're talking to somebody stateside, so it works out pretty well. And they're pretty reasonable priced, and they ship pretty quickly. You roll the dice on Amazon and all the other ones too, so it's nice to have something like that. So I would highly recommend using them for any of your stuff. And that's about it. Any questions? Or
so if you have this repeater,
yep.
Do you Bluetooth to it still?
Yeah. Yep. I have that up on the roof of my garage, just your normal two-car garage, and standing a few feet away from my garage, I can Bluetooth into it just fine with my phone. It's got just a small internal ribbon Bluetooth antenna, and you can also get a larger Bluetooth antenna too if you want, and mount. I've seen somewhere off the bottom where I have the duct tape covering up the hole, they'll have a Bluetooth antenna out, so you can get it up higher on a tower and still be able to communicate it with your phone.
So
Yeah, I'm Bluetooth. My iPad is Bluetooth to that one up there.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Is that acting as a repeater now?
That's I have it set up as a client where you can it's attached to my iPad, but it will repeat.
Yep.
It acts like a repeater, but yet it also acts like a client.
Yeah, that's one thing to remember when you got people who have a node, if you call it a client. We're all repeaters. That's how the mesh works, is where it will not necessarily everyone go through his. The signal will find the quickest route, and it'll bounce accordingly. And that's the cool thing with the mesh, is that it's self-healing. Because say, if I want to send a message to you, the quickest route will be through him to you, if I can't go directly to you. If his battery goes dead or he goes away, it might go to Mike to you. It'll find the next fastest route. So it's a mesh, so it's kind of fun like that. And here's the T-deck, the all-in-one. I don't like it. It's not quite there yet. The concept is awesome because now you don't have an extra thing around. You don't need a phone. But the software or the firmware that they have for it is a little buggy right now, and it's not quite there in my opinion. Honestly, for people in this group who are hams and we like to tinker, you will deal with this. But if you give this to your kid, they're going to throw it at you. But if you get like that credit card size one and sync it up to their Android phone or their iPhone that they already have, it'll be the way to go. But yeah, I think as fast as Meshtastic's going with their improving their hardware and the firmware, I think these things will be really good in a little while. But right now, I would probably stick to that mesh pocket that I have, that T-Echo that Mike showed, or that little credit card size one. Yeah. But I think that's all the toys I got.
One thing about a Meshtastic device, if you do buy a kit to put it together, do not hook it up to power without an antenna on it, or you'll fry the chip.
Yep.
I know, I bricked one already. Yeah, because you know you're trying to get it in the case, and you know all the cases you buy are 3D printed, so it doesn't quite fit, and you got to finagle with it. So you got to disconnect the battery, and you got to disconnect the antenna, and then you next thing you know, you're connecting the battery back up without putting an antenna on it.
Yep.
And as soon as you do that, the mesh starts doing its thing and it starts transmitting, and that's what'll brick the board. So, I mean, even if you go to meshtastic.org, the main website for all of this, right on the page, do not connect the battery without the antenna.
Yep. And the one biggest piece of advice besides that, as far as getting it to take off in the area, is to not put one together, set it up to see there's nothing on here, and then you turn it off. You know, that's how repeaters die. Have the thing up, send out messages once in a while, and you'll see how it goes. I work quite a ways from where I live, and I'll have that sitting in my truck going, and that little credit card one in my pocket inside the metal building, and I will get traffic and
the truck body and everything.
Yep. So every once in a while, you know, even that's a different area, somebody will go, "Is anybody in this mesh in New Richmond?" And I'll say, "Yes, I am, working, but I'm here." So in order for that, just like your repeater nets and everything else, in order for it to grow, you got to use it. So if you don't see anything in the area, don't get frustrated, just use it.
Yeah, that one up there I leave on my back porch, and I've got 3 varies from 1,000 to 15,000 mA, and I leave it plugged in, and I don't know how, I detected a node in Texas, and I've got one just north of Detroit, Minneapolis, Green Bay, from my house in northern Illinois. Don't know how, but one other peculiar thing about these devices is that they draw very little current, especially the newer devices. So if you hook it up to a modern cache battery, you know, that you use for your phone, one, make sure it's got a USB port to hook it up to. And what will happen is, as it's drawing its current, it'll draw so little current that the battery thinks there's nothing attached to it, and it'll shut itself off. All the newer batteries are like that. So, you know, what it is it'll run for maybe a day, and you're going good, and then it just shuts off. And you turn it back on, and the next day it shuts off again. It's because the battery is thinking that there's nothing hooked to it, so it'll shut itself off. So get a dumb battery, you know, to hook it up to. If you plan on like doing what I did, get a dumb battery.
Yeah, and you know, I live about 90 miles straight north of the Twin Cities. I live right next to the St. Croix, and every once in a while I'll get just a handful in my area, and then all of a sudden one day I'll get 85 new nodes. That's all from the Twin Cities area. And it's just kind of happens. I don't know if somebody has a cabin that's just close enough to somebody else's cabin, and when they come up on the weekend, it all comes through, or. And
do they stay in? Because that one has, you know, once you detect a node, the board has a database it'll build and remember that. Okay. And the only way to get rid of it is to go into the settings and clear the node database, and then it's like starting over from the beginning. And then, like, when you go to your node setting in the software, you'll see, like, that one has almost 200 nodes. But if you open the settings box in the node part and you hit online, then all of a sudden I've only got 2 nodes online. You know, all the other ones are hidden. So,
yeah, they have some good filters where they can filter through what's online, what's not, what's 1 hop away, what's 2 hops away, so you can kind of judge stuff too.
But I think they use this quite effectively at Ham Benton. In fact, they had, was it Todd was saying? Where you at, Todd? Okay, yeah, about they brought the system down because they had so much traffic, and I think that was because they had too many repeaters. Because they tell you in the software to set it up as a client, because client will act as a repeater and allow you to get and send messages from that device. If you set it up as a repeater, it'll only repeat what it gets. But the problem with a repeater is if you get two repeaters close to one another, they'll just bounce off of one another, and it'll create a lot more traffic in your network. So they say repeaters are to be left to be placed in strategic locations.
That solar repeater we passed around, can you put that into client mode, did you say?
Yep. Yeah, you can, that device has the exact same board as that device.
Oh.
Yep. Just that one has more room for, like I said, I got some 18650 batteries in there and some other stuff,
So I've made a new friend with somebody who has a 100-foot tower.
Oh.
And he's interested in Meshtastic in the Twin Cities.
Okay.
And so... Solar?
Yep.
Yeah, like you can't run, you're not going to run coax down.
Yep.
And he doesn't want to climb it all that often.
Yeah.
How often do you have to like reboot it or do some kind of maintenance?
I've left mine go for 6-7 months at a time before I take them down just to update the firmware and stuff like that. Yeah, mine. Yeah, I think the one on my roof it's been a good 5 months since I took it down and redid the firmware and give the batteries a good charge. But I've only taken it down once or twice before that. It's been up there for a year and a half, so I'd say 6 months would be good. If you got a couple of batteries in here like I do, device this size, and you could probably go quite a ways. They do have an option for running power up to it through an Ethernet. There's a little module that you can put on, so you can put this thing up here and out of this bottom hole you can have LAN's power coming up to it through Ethernet. And then if that goes away, now you still have solar and everything. And you can have, if you want to go with running power up to it, you could have a simpler enclosure that doesn't have solar because you kind of don't need it. But I think something like this would work quite well if he doesn't mind going up there once or twice a year.
So do you need to use, if you've got Ethernet, running it power over Ethernet, do you need the Bluetooth to it to do a firmware update? Or can
that I don't know. I really don't know. I've never gone through that way. I know some of them you can hook them up to Wi-Fi as well. You can get a module that's a Wi-Fi, so that could definitely be more range.
The Heltec T114 you can hook Wi-Fi up to it, but I've never done it, so I've just used the Bluetooth.
You know, considering in tower height, though, you may not want to put that up at 100 feet, depending on the saturation of the network. You know, if you're in the Twin Cities and there's a lot of traffic, you might be better off being at 50 or 40 feet.
Yep.
That's a consideration we've often had to make in building out the APRS network. Is that you get a digi way up. I mean, our club had one up at 750 feet, and it covered a third of the state, and it got to be, you couldn't listen to the local channel because it was like bam, 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 bam. But I don't know. It's one of those things you're just gonna have to do a little bit of thinking, analysis on coverage. You know, do some terrain plots and decide if that's something that you want to, you know, how much height you're going to actually want to put your node up.
I could be mistaken, but I think like St. Cloud is more active than Twin Cities. What if we want to like link St. Cloud and the Twin Cities? So like the Twin City repeater might, to limit what the problem you were saying, having it up, we might need the height to talk to St. Cloud.
You might be thinking of filtering, you know, considering filtering so that you're only talking to other certain clients.
Yeah, and you can set that up. You can set up a white list or a black list or whatever, where you can only. Yeah, when you set up as a repeater, I've gone through those settings, and it can be repeat everything, repeat a list of nodes, or only so often and stuff like that. So if you explore the settings, which I really haven't done a whole lot because I haven't really looked into repeaters, but I'm sure there's some.
Yeah, then you could act as a bridge between the two communities and without saturating the system.
I'm just maybe making this up, but I think there's a gateway mode also.
Yeah, you can tunnel in through the internet too.
You might be able to use a gateway on each end to
Yep.
connect.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember the acronym for that, but you're right, Todd. There is a way to tunnel through the internet from one node to another.
How do you know what people belong to what node? You want to talk to Michael. How do you know who Michael is?
Well,
Do you have to know him and talk to him about it?
If you got your name on the node,
yeah.
Otherwise, I've only been doing this for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I think some people want to stay anonymous.
Yep. Yeah, that's the thing. It's dealer's choice on that. When you get them, it comes with a default, basically an IP address or some random, and that is that node. But you can, it's just like everything else in the internet. You can change your call sign or what do normal people say besides call sign? Username. You can change it to whatever you want. So I have mine, either my name, or I have that white one. I have my call sign in it and stuff like that.
Your handle.
Yep.
Yeah.
Handle.
Yeah. Each node you can have like a 16-digit long name, and then when you're looking at a node through the node function or on the mesh map, they have if you don't put something in there, they'll take the last 4 characters of your long name, and that'll be in the one that, like when you look at a node, that's what you'll see, unless you click on it, and then you can see the long name.
If you also want to communicate with one person or a group of people, you set up your own channel.
Yep.
You then put in your own encryption key, and then you share that encryption key to only the people that you want. And then only the people that you want can actually decrypt it and re-encrypt it.
Yeah, the default channel that comes with is open, and obviously everybody's there. That's kind of like the calling frequency if you want. And then you can set up as many separate channels or chat groups as you want. Have them be encrypted or not, and so that's nice. I have one that's set up that's encrypted. That's just family, and I'm a big fan of it being encrypted because it's not like I have plans for taking over Wisconsin, invading the Upper Peninsula of Michigan and taking it back.
Oh yes, you do.
But I tell everybody about it, so it doesn't need to be encrypted. But for families and stuff, this world's kind of crazy. If you have young kids, maybe you don't want anybody in the neighborhood listening to your conversations with your kids, So it's good, and you can set that up or not with encryption. So it's a nice option.
I think the distinction to make too is if you're creating private encrypted channels, you still have the full range and benefits of all of the other mesh nodes.
Yep.
They're bouncing off those other clients, but they're not being able to view or read your messages. So.
They just know that a message went through.
Yeah.
So again, if I want to send a message to Michael, and I have to go through Mike, but I don't want Mike to know about it because we're planning his surprise birthday, I can send all the details to Michael, and it'll go right through Mike, and he'll just say that a node went through.
So if you have let's say you're using your call sign and you're operating in the amateur radio space.
Yeah.
And let's say Michael his handle is Loosey Goosey 24 or whatever.
How did you know?
He's not doing amateur radio.
Right.
Can that all still happen?
Yeah. If I have mine set up for amateur radio, I can still send everything. I just can't send encrypted messages anymore because now I'm exercising the privileges of the amateur band where encryption's not allowed.
And that lets. What are the advantages of doing it under your call sign different
Yeah,
powers?
that's the big thing is you can go up.
And you can go down into the I think it's the UHF frequency band. You can use some of those frequencies down there.
The lower half of the 70 centimeter band, because this is using ISM frequency allocations, industrial, scientific, and medical frequencies, and there's certain ISM channels in between 430 and 438 megahertz, I believe it is. So,
Are they primary and then amateur radio is secondary? Is that how that works?
I believe, yeah, but we're on 900 megahertz. We are a secondary allocation. I think on 70 centimeters, I think we're primary and they're secondary. But I'm not. I don't quote me on that. I don't remember now, which I should because it's like on the extra exam.
Who knows all that?
Yeah, who knows all that?
And how long can a message be? How many characters?
Yeah, right around 200 characters. Can't send a book.
Ish. I forgot exactly.
Yeah.
240 or something.
Yeah.
You get your point across.
Yep.
Dozen eggs, loaf of bread, milk.
Yep.
You can always send a multi-part one too, can't you?
Yeah, you
Yep.
can send.
And a fun thing, and I didn't think about it until I was 3/4 of the way here. You can do some old school fun with this. You can set up on a Raspberry Pi a BBS system for this. So if you don't have your radio on, you know, it's text messaging. You don't have to be at the radio to get a message. But if your radio's not on, then you won't get that message. But you can set up a old bulletin board system, and you can store messages there. You can send out announcements and stuff like that. So that's kind of a cool thing too for the nostalgic type.
You can set your node up to store and forward. So if it gets a message and it doesn't get an acknowledgement right away, it'll store it and try it again a little later. But that's kind of getting into the weeds of setup and whatnot.
And then one thing I forgot to mention on this one, you may notice I got these 4 magnets on the back. This one normally sits on a pole shed, but you can get different modules for these where you can have just basically loops for a clamp hose that you can mount these onto a mast, and they have a couple different mounting options.